All right. Welcome to On The Sideline. I'm your host, Jeff Holden. Today, we got Big O.
How y'all doing today?
And our man of the hour, special guest, head coach, athletic director of the Owl Park Hawks, new in town.
That's new, yes,
Coach
sir.
Bryan Wood.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I've listened to all your fans already.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Everybody, settle down out there. Settle down. No, so this is your first go round here, new to town. We've been excited about, we've had so many new coaches this year, but you're probably stand out as one of the. I want to say stand out, but we've read your history. We're excited about you and Owl Park football. Before we get too started, I was wanting if you could just introduce yourself, give us a little bit about yourself, your family, your coaching career, and then how you ended up here in Owl Park.
Okay. Well, my wife and I are about to celebrate our 34th anniversary. Just did, actually. Not about to. We just did. Yeah.
It was yesterday.
It was 34 years and about, 10 days or something.
He messed up.
And then, yeah, you're right. At least you're sitting over here listening, right? We got 3 kids. My oldest is a teacher out in Lubbock. My middle child is a chiropractor in Amarillo, and our youngest is a music minister in Junction City, Kansas. So we got them spread out all over the place.
Wow.
For sure.
It's a lot of traveling.
It is a lot of traveling.
Grandparents yet?
Not yet.
Oh.
They're not interested. We are, but they're not.
Like, slow down. We ain't trying to do that right now.
Yeah.
They're too busy.
Yes, sir.
But we've both been in education. This will be 33, our 33rd year, and Brandy, my wife, taught and coached the whole time as well. And
Wow.
so this is what we do. We're coaches and teachers, and that's our mission field. And she always says we're just addicted to it. So
Yeah, that's good.
apparently we are. We're still rolling.
Yes, sir.
You must be pretty good at it if you keep going.
Is your wife going to be coaching and teaching at Owl Park as well?
She's not. She's going to be a counselor at the high school.
Okay. So she got out of the coaching part of it.
Yeah, she's been out coaching for, maybe 10 years or so. But she did it for a lot of time during the first part of her career.
Okay. So what sports did your wife coach? So we have to ask these questions.
Well, I hate to say this, but she's the only one in the house that has a state championship.
Wait.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
You said she has a what?
She got a state championship. Yeah.
So we got something in common. I got 2.
Yeah.
They can't even talk to us no more. It's just between me and you right there. You know what I'm saying? We got something that y'all don't got. But back to
Every time he hears that word state championship, look at him. He's all giddy.
back to Coach Wood. You know?
No, she coached track and had a mile relay team that won the state championship a year, and she can coach it all. She's basketball and track mainly, but coached all our kids growing up, through the youth stuff, and reached the point where we were chasing them all when they were in high school and junior high. We were going all over the place, and she decided to get out of the coaching part of it so she could spend more time on them, and has gone the counselor route since then.
Yes, sir. So what school where was your previous destination before coming to Owl Park?
I was at Wayland Baptist University in Plainview. I was offensive coordinator there. It's NAIA, small college football, and prior to that, I'd been in a number of high schools, but that was our first year out of the high school realms, and so we weren't looking for anything. We enjoyed Wayland. I worked for a great guy, and we were making progress, and Owl Park deal came open and sparked some interest, and it's a long story, but long story short, and after about a couple of weeks of just talking to them, here we are.
For sure. So one of the questions I wanted to ask when you first got here, of course, we know you've coached at the high school level. The first part of that question is, what levels of high school have you coached? What all levels have you coached at?
Every level except 6A.
Okay.
I've done 1A through 5A and then small college. So
okay.
6A is the only one I skip. No 6-man.
Okay.
I'd be lost on that one.
So what's the difference between college and high school? Because we've had some different coaches. Coach Lev has also, and he kind of expressed kind of what he felt the difference was. But if in the coaching wise, what would you say would be if there is a difference, what would you say the difference would be between coaching at the high school level and the college level?
Well, as far as the kids go, nothing. Kids are kids. The higher the level you get, the more talented athlete you're coaching. They retain it faster. You can do more. at the college level, I was able to coach offense for about 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2 hours and 20 minutes a day. And, we just did our script for Iowa Park. I'm going to get them an hour and 15 minutes on offense the first day. And so it's just a matter of amount of time you get to spend on them. So if you had that same amount of time at the high school level, probably not that much different. I think a 5A or 6A head coach would say that their schedule's a little bit like what that small college schedule is as far as the amount of time they get to spend with quarterbacks. Like I got to coach my quarterbacks for almost 45 minutes a day, just an individual. And, at the high school level, for sure at 3A ball, you're going to get them about 15, 20 minutes a day individually, and then you're going straight into your different holes and all the past stuff.
Yeah, for sure. The smaller the classification, your period time is for sure cut because a lot of those players play both sides of the ball. So you definitely don't want to have the defensive coach upset because you're having all the kids for all the time and vice versa. And I know week to week, depending on the teams that you play, preparation might change a little bit just because if you need a little bit more on the other side. But I've seen the periods of how I'm like, you got to be on top of making sure. And for those viewers don't know, when you in your neighborhood, when you hear that, that's just another period has changed.
Right.
They got to. And if you hear that horn back to back, that means somebody was trying to get an extra rep. So, so let's move into. Of course, you're new to Iowa Park. I know that they're excited to have you there. My good buddy Justin, for sure, is excited. Good guy. Anytime he speaks highly of somebody, I take it. I don't take it with a grain of salt. I do have some friends that say something. I be like, I don't know if what you said is accurate, but he's not one of those people. So,
right.
With you being new to Iowa Park, let's talk a little bit about. Of course, you said when the job came available, it drew some interest. What's some of the things about this community that interests you and your family?
Well, I think just the history of Iowa Park. They've had some pretty good runs in the past, and then I know Coach Nelms, who used to be the head coach there, so I reached out to him and visited him about what he thought the potential of the job was, because I didn't want to leave what I was doing just to go take a bad job. And then I've seen him play before, and then it's small school, and for 25 years I've been a head football coach and AD, and when I went the small college route, I was offensive coordinator. And that's a different role. I love the football and what we were able to do, but when you do something for that long and then you change the role that you're in, it feels different. So really, it was a lot about just having the opportunity to be an AD and a head football coach again, and in a good place.
Yes, for sure. So of course, you're AD, head football coach. How has your summer attendance been so far this year since you've been there?
Yeah, it's been really good. We kind of implemented an accountability system, divided them up into groups, made some captains of each group. If they weren't going to be there, they had to text that in that group that I could look at. I mean, we're trying to get them just to be accountable for not being there if they weren't going to be there. And then at the very end of the year, we had 7 kids that had perfect attendance all summer long, and then we had another about 30 that were perfectly accountable, which means they might have been gone, but we knew where they were. And then you're always going to have those handful of kids that they're just not going to get it yet. They may not ever get it, but
that the
they
parents
don't get it
complain
yet.
about them not getting to play.
Yeah, they
kids?
probably will. Yeah.
No, but sorry, I'll jump in here. I feel like I've been sitting in the silence over here for about 15 minutes now. You're about the 4th or 5th team now that has implemented that this year, at least has mentioned that with the accountability thing. And we talked even afterwards or even in the show about how important that is, but also like he mentioned before a couple times about how it's different. It's different whenever your teammate comes and says, "Hey man, where were you today?" or "Hey man, where are you going to be?" or whatever, versus your coach or somebody from admin or whatever trying to figure out where you're at. So the accountability is huge. That creates leadership ability or traits and stuff like that. So I'm from Burke Burnett, so Iowa Park was always kind of our rival. With that being said, I know a lot of people. There's so many people from Burke that have moved into Iowa Park because of the culture and because of everything that Iowa Park is. It's a smaller school, but they're so well. Just I don't know. Everything about Iowa Park is getting better. It seems like it keeps getting better every year, and I know a lot of them are excited about you coming in as the head coach and athletic director. So what we're doing here I didn't get to mention this earlier, but what we're doing here is our football preview. The goal is for us to try to get exposure for any kids that we can at any level of any sport. So throughout the interview, if you can mention kids by name, it might be a little hard for you. I'm not sure exactly how long you've been in Iowa Park, but so you got newspaper, you got media, you got magazines who think they know what Iowa Park football is going to be like and what Coach Bryan Wood's going to be like, but we go straight to the source. Again, we appreciate you coming up here, and we look forward to learning more about your team. You mentioned summer workouts have been doing good, accountability, all that. Let's move into your preseason schedule, or your pre-district schedule, and then into your district schedule.
Yeah. So we start off on the road at Pampa. It's a good haul up into Harvester land, and play a squad that is going to have their numbers are going to be better. And that's just because they're a bigger school than us, but that'll be a good test right off the bat. And then we got Burke Burnett and Mineral Wells and City View. Those are it's quick. It's those 4 teams, and then we get a week off, and then here we go into the district play. So I just think where we're at, I think any new coach would say this: when you're going in, you're worried a whole lot more about you than you are everybody else. You got to get your team prepared, and if you're good enough to get it done, that's great. But you better be getting better every week. And I always just say when we line up and we're supposed to beat them, let's beat them. And then sometimes we got to line up against somebody we're not supposed to beat and figure out a way to get it done. And that's what success is. And so we know we got about a month to grow up really, really fast. Including those 2 scrimmages, and then it'll be on into a tough district.
Yes, for sure. So before we go into your district play, let's talk a little bit about some key players that you guys lost. I know you're a guy of for sure research. You can't do this for 25 years and not dive into things. Even with accepting a job, you know what you're losing and you know what you're having coming back. That's sports. I mean, that's preparation. And right. If the coach is not prepared, the team will never be prepared. So what are some of the pieces that Iowa Park's losing, and what's some of those pieces that you guys have coming back and looking to build on this coming up year?
Yeah, as far as what they lost, I couldn't tell you what their names are. I can tell you what their numbers are. I watched a ton of film, so I'd always ask, is number 14 back or is he gone? And then I got a roster, so I'm trying to figure out what pieces we do have coming back. There's really 5 starters back on both sides. They lost some good kids, some seniors that played really hard, and lost a couple of close games. So it could have been a 5-win season as easy as it was a 3. But our quarterback deal is going to be a competition. We got a senior, Paxton Allen, is going to be competing with Reed McLean, who's going to be a sophomore. Paxton started the first part of the season and got hurt. Reed took over, and so I've got to see both those guys in the fire. I'm excited to see how that plays out. I think it's going to be a really good competition, and I'm not a
He answered that question for us.
Yeah. Well, no, the thing about it is like you said, how it plays out, because they both do different things. Yeah, both of them bring different components to the schedule. I mean, to the thing, and it's about who fits the offense and who can get it going. I think Reed did a great job coming in. He got thrown, like you said, a freshman getting thrown into the fire in a district that's extremely gruesome district, and I think he rose to the occasion better than what most people thought he would have did. I've been knowing Reed for a long, long time. Great family, great kid. Him and his brother Andrew, good kids. But I think Reed, like I said, he got thrown in the fire. But Paxton also is a kid that's been battling for the last few years. He's been doing good stuff. He's proven himself as well. So you got a heart. It's hard, but I tell everybody the best thing about that is football always tells you what's right. You allow the kids to make that decision. So I'll let you get back to talking about what else you got going.
Yeah, just back on that quarterback deal, I think that you said it. They've got different traits. One of them does something better than the other both ways, and when you can walk in and you've got options and you can create that competition, they're both going to be better no matter what. And the good news is they can both play somewhere else.
Yes, sir.
And so it's not a you lose the job and don't get to play. It's a lose your job, you go play somewhere else, but you're still the backup. So I think that deal will play itself out. Andrew, you mentioned Andrew McLean up front. He'll kind of be our leader on the offensive line. We'll use him some defensively too. And then and skill guys wise, I think that's up in the air. There wasn't really a guy that stood out last year. Gideon Towner had a decent year. We'll really utilize him. Kingston Ames is a kid that'll play both ways. Got a Smader kid that's going to be an inside receiver. There's a number of skill guys that are seniors that are going to have to step up and be better than they were. And then we got a handful of young guys that I really like. They just haven't been in the Friday Night Fire, so I don't know what that looks like, but we'll have them prepared for it.
Yes, for sure.
Very good. Yeah, so you went over a couple that you lost. Well, like you said, it's kind of hard for you. Number 14. No, 14. But yeah, I mean, we're just excited, honestly, to have you come in here. I know. What was the coach before? He did a great job.
Coach Blassingame?
I think no.
The
before,
coach.
Coach that you replaced. Yeah.
Swinson.
Swinson.
Yeah,
there you
Swinson.
go. Coach Swinson was, a great guy. He did a lot of good things, and man, I always thought that he was just the best at baseball, but things happen,
Yeah. It's our business,
Yeah.
I always say when you come into a place and there's controversy, I've always said this: when I leave town, half the people are glad and half the people are mad.
Yeah.
And the guy that followed me, it wasn't his fault that he's there. He's just the next guy, and that's the way I've kind of approached this at Iowa Park. I know Swinson's got a great reputation.
Yeah.
Lots of folks didn't want to see him go, and I've just said that I understand it. It's our business, and I appreciate your loyalty, but I'm just a guy who took a job, so let's go to work.
Yeah, let's get to work. So as you guys, you came in. I say you guys, you and your wife, she's in here. But did you have much coaching turnover? Did you lose a lot of coaches? Did you bring coaches with you? And if you could throw those names out there.
Yeah, we lost one guy. His name is Gary Green. He'd been in Iowa Park for a long time. But he told me as soon as I got there the very first day, he's like, Coach, I'm leaving. It has nothing to do with you. Going to get by my granddaughter. That's what he told me. So he moved off down south. And then that was it. That's the only guy we lost.
Oh, wow.
I brought the guy that was coaching running backs at Wayland Baptist came with me, and he's going to coach running backs at Iowa Park. And then we got to add a position, so we hired a kid that played at Iowa Park named Caden Ashlock. He graduated from there, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago, and just finished up at Midwestern, and so we got him right out of college. So really only replaced one guy and then got an add-on. Everybody else, does that make? Other 11 stayed.
Yeah, that's always good to be able to have familiar faces. Change is good, but also familiarity. I couldn't get it out.
That's a big one.
Yes, it's also good as well. One thing that you said that I wanted to piggyback on is you saying, hey, you're not responsible for Coach Swinson's departure. You had nothing to do with that. You interviewed for a job because there was a vacancy. That means also, too, that you interviewed for a job that's something meant something to you, because with you being a coach for 25 years, you don't just go and say, hell, I think I'll go do it. No, you do your research. So and it has to mean something to you when you're coaching this far along. So the community of Iowa Park, that's one thing I wanted to say when Coach got on here. You got somebody that wants to be here, not somebody that just I'm just coming to just do something. He wants to be here. He wants to add to the legacy and the tradition of what's already been going on. So make sure that we're, doing our due diligence and supporting what's new. Because in the end, it turns around and helps these kids out, and it makes the kids perform better. One thing that I always tell my wife, no matter how frustrated I get at a coach or anything, I'll never talk about my son's coaches in front of my son. The reason I never do that is because when he's with them, they're responsible for him, and I want him to have the utmost respect for his coaches. I could disagree about something as parents, because parents do that. That's what we do. But we're not the paid professionals. We don't know it all.
Parents are the worst.
Yeah, we are. Well, we're not the paid professionals. But what I will say is, I always tell them, this is just not for just Iowa Park parents. This is a segment. This is for everybody. Never downgrade your coaches in front of the players. And the reason I'm saying that is because ultimately you want your kids to have the respect for those coaches while they're there, and make sure that we honor that, because when a kid loses a respect for a coach, he also loses respect for himself, and he loses respect for his teammates, because he becomes uncoachable. And when you're uncoachable, you're undisciplined. Undisciplined players turn into turnovers. Undisciplined players turn into losses. So that's just my opinion on that. So
Shoot, you need to come sit over here, and man, you are spot on.
yeah, that's just one of those things that I think sometimes I talk to my coach. I have coach friends, and sometimes the things that they want to say, they don't always know how to get it across, because you don't want to come across like Randy Macho, Mandy Savage, just overly aggressive. But let's talk a little bit. We could stay on that all day, but let's get into your district play. You're going into one of the. It's just today. Dave Campbell's released it today as one of the toughest districts in Class 3A. This district is considered, and they didn't break it down into small and big school. They just did 3A across the board, and this is considered to be the toughest district. So let's talk about district play, and how do you feel about going in the district, this type of gauntlet district?
Well, I mean, you answered your own question. It's a gauntlet. You got 4 teams that are top 25 guys, and we snuck in last year, into the playoffs and got to play a playoff game, but they picked us 5th, I believe, in the magazine, and I was surprised they picked us 5th. I thought they'd pick us 6th, but it's just one of those deals where I've coached teams where we had the bullseye on our back, and that's fun, but uncomfortable. And I've coached teams that are kind of the dark horse, and people aren't really paying any attention to them, and that's where we're at. And
under the radar.
We're gonna embrace that, and I want to use that. That's motivation. People think you're not good. You've got no pressure on you. They think you're gonna be bad. So when you go show them that you're not, then it's a surprise. I relate to like our Parks basketball team last year. The boys, they weren't picked to do anything, and here they are in the semifinals, and so. I think that's important. I think that our coaching staff, back to that one, plays into this district conversation, is like to keep all those guys. And then like I've got Coach Duggins and Coach Neff who are going to coordinate stuff. Coach Ellis is going to be our special teams coordinator. Coach Ellis was the head football coach and AD at Iowa Park for a long time prior to me, 20 years ago. And so I've got guys that know what they're doing, and they've been nothing but golden so far. And so when you got that kind of team that's going to coach your team, you're going to have a chance. We're going to beat somebody we're not supposed to.
Yes, sir.
At least one.
We just got to beat everybody we are supposed to, and then you get to sneak in. You never know what happens after that.
I will tell you this: Burke Burnett in Iowa Park. It's one of those games where you take take everything in. It's a clean slate, because it's.
Right.
I mean, here's a fun fact: Burke beat Iowa Park that year that Iowa Park went all the way to and finished like 4th in the state, and went to the state semifinal game. Burke beat them that year. I think it was maybe the only 1 or 2 teams they beat all year. So you never know. I mean, that's one of the best games every year. So I'm excited. I'll definitely be there for that one. But
so your district is Peaster, Paradise, Ponder. That's the order you guys play in. Boyd, Vernon, and Bowie. You come out the gate, 2 tough opponents right off, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of them. Yeah. It's one of those things where you're put in a situation where, like you said, each week the kids have to be ready to play. What's some of the techniques and different things? I noticed that you said you're going to use this as motivation. So what are some of the areas of some of the, I guess, things that you do to kind of get the kids weekly, like, prepared for the game, like mentally? I know the X's and O's is one thing, but you've been in the game for 25 years, so I'm asking these things. Longer than 25 years, but you were an AD. Let's correct that. You were an AD head coach for 25 years, but you've been doing this for 34 years, correct?
That's right.
All right, let me fix that. All right, so 34 years of experience. What are some of the things that you do from a game preparation to get your kids mentally locked in?
Well, in a year from now, I'd answer the question a little bit differently, because I would have been through an off season. You win games in off season. You create all the mentality stuff there. So that part of it has to happen from November to when you start in August. I'll tell you what Iowa Park kids need right now. They need to believe they can do something. And so I'm going to preach belief. When you know as well as I do that whether it's a kid or whether it's us guys, if we believe we can do something, we're going to go give it a shot. And sometimes it just happens, and I always say this, make this statement, is that You can work your tails off. I mean, absolutely do everything you're supposed to do, and you're not guaranteed to win. But if you don't do that, you're guaranteed a loss. And so it's just about what they believe about themselves. I feel like that. I watch them work out, and I've seen them do things. I watched our baseball team walk out on the field, and I could tell they knew they were going to win. The mentality was there. I don't feel that when I watch us do skills and some things, as far as football related. We have to get them to have confidence in what they're able to do, because we got some guys that can play. They just got to be confident in it, and when they are, then that's the key. How do you turn a program into a winning program? Well, you win. That's how you do it. You got to figure out how to win, and that's by getting kids to believe in the process.
And you can't win, like you said, you can't win if you don't believe you can win.
That's right.
So
and it only takes really, there's I always feel like in every program I've been in, there's like this one key point that I remember something happened. We won that game, or we had this good meeting, or I had a kid stand up and show some leadership. There's always kind of that thing that stands out. I'll be interested to see what it is this year.
So my thing is you pointed out something that's very, very true about our park, which again, that shows that you do your homework. When it comes to baseball, softball, I'm telling you, like, the expectation is already set. They believe. They know when there's an expectation when we enter on the diamond that we're expected to win. One thing that I'm hearing you say is that's an expectation that you're bringing to football across athletics as the AD. The expectation that you have, we want that to be across the board, which is good, because if you don't believe, that's half the battle. I tell my little kids that I coach, if you show up to this game and you Windthorst, I'm about to say something about the Windthorst. They had a kid in Windthorst. I'm not making this up. He know I'm telling the truth. I always give him a shout out. Kid last name Belcher. In 6th grade, he was 6'3". Every kid that showed up, they was like, no, I'm not. No. I was like, he's just a boy. I said, you got to believe. We had this one kid. I'll never forget it. It's one of our smallest kids. It was him and that kid. I said, oh, God, have mercy. That's what I'm saying.
That's what he's saying, too.
Oh, he went in there like it was nothing and brought him down by himself. I was like, at that point, I was like, if he can do it, y'all have to believe. They would put it on us pretty good, but still, that was a moment for kids to understand that. Because I hate to say it, but I used the David and Goliath situation before that game. That was my speech. I was like, he's going to be the Goliath, and we're going to be able to take him down. And this kid believed that. And those are things that I want people to understand, like parents. It starts with us. If we're always saying we're not going to be good at this, your kids will show up and believe that they'll never be able to succeed. It's a culture thing. So every day you have to pour into your kids, make sure that they understand, hey, we believe in you guys, whether you're winning or losing, but we have an expectation for you to go out there and give your best.
That's right.
100% at all times. So I like that you use the word believe. That's not cliche. Some people might say, oh, that's just coach talk. No, that's the truth.
That's life talk.
Yes, sir.
You better believe in what you're doing, whether you're playing ball or you're doing a podcast or you're coaching. You got to believe in what you're doing. And I just think you use the word culture, and I love the word culture, because I think that's what you win and lose games on. But if you what you come and watch us practice, or you watch us play a game, that's who we are. What we say doesn't mean anything if we don't back it up with some action. So
yes, sir.
They got to believe in themselves, and we got to go do some work.
Yeah, so real quick, I got a question. Other than wins and losses, what do you think is a goal for you and the program this year?
Grow kids. I think that's our mission field. I've answered that way. That same question I get in every interview. How do you define success? Well, there's no number on that. I want the Iowa Park parents to know that when their kid comes to play football, they just became part of the biggest leadership council in the school. We're going to teach them how to lead. We're going to teach them how to act right. And we're going to hold them accountable. And I'm old school. I'm an old guy. I remember how I was coached. We can't do it that way exactly anymore, but I do the best I can to keep it the old school way. And that is, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And we're going to hold them to that. And the Iowa Park kids have been awesome, because they test the water. A kid's going to test the water to see if I really mean what I say, and I do. And because I know it works, and I just believe that's the way I raised my own kids, and that's how I'm going to raise these Iowa Park boys. And parents appreciate that. Parents want two things. They want you to win football games, basketball games, whatever game. They want you to win the game, and they want you treat their kid right. And I can guarantee you on the second one, we're going to treat your kid right.
That's a pretty good
Yeah,
guarantee.
so the biggest thing, the one thing, Coach, I want to get out, get it out now. Talking to Justin, one thing, me and him, we both are believers, men of faith. And that's the one thing that he was like, oh, that's the one thing you're going to love about Coach Woods, man, is he's a man of faith. How does your beliefs dictate your coaching style, Coach?
Ooh, yeah, I do believe. I believe you're supposed to act right. And that's, I think, what you say out of your mouth better be what you're supposed to. You say it the right way, and I just know that. I mean, if you don't have faith, especially in everybody's life, but in the coaching world, your victories may be just moral victories. A lot of time, you see a kid grow up. You know, I absolutely love when I get a wedding invitation, you know, or a graduation invitation, or I run into a kid I coached and he hugs my neck and he's 25 years old and says, "I love you, Coach." That's what it's about. And I think it's because we raised our kids in the church. We believe, we know who our Lord and Savior is. And I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'm glad you asked the question. I don't know if we were going to talk about it or not. I know where I stand, and I know I'm going to answer to school boards and superintendents, but at the very end, I'm going to really answer to just one guy. And it's not going to have anything to do with how many games I won.
Yes, sir. So we love on this show. That's one thing that we do. All of us are believers. I love when we get an opportunity to have those conversations, because to me they're the most important. Football is important, but those conversations, because we're being good steward of men when we're coaching, when we're doing those things where, and I always tell parents all the time, we have to make sure that we're weighing that in more than we are the wins and losses. Because if I can get a coach that can mold my son into being a better individual, showing him beliefs, showing him putting God at first and putting God at the center, that's better than it's hard for me to say it as a state champ, but it's the best thing that my coaches ever did for me when I was growing up. Because when you face adverse times, that's the one thing you're going to be able to fall back on more than anything. Yeah. Appreciate it. I always, when Justin told me that, I always like to give coaches the opportunity, especially when they're new, because that's something fresh that it's great for parents to be able to hear. Because there's a lot of great believers in our park, people that I know that are believers, and that's the one thing that gives you reassurance that, no, when I send my daughter to school, they're going to be, the people that are around them are people that are like-minded. You don't want to, it's hard to send your son to school and you don't know what or on a bus ride somewhere and you don't know what their beliefs are. So being able to know that's something good for those people to know. So that's one question I want to get out.
One thing, it's funny, we've talked about this quite a few times about, your calling, your mission. Like you mentioned that, I really liked how you said that. Like that's y'all's mission. It's been y'all's mission for 30 some years. I can't remember exactly if this was a Bible study that I was in, or if it was just my preacher talking one Sunday about the 5 important role models of a person, like of a kid growing up, and the fact that there's about 5 people that will truly pour into them and to like minister to them and to build them and mold them into who they are. Obviously, their father, coaches are one of those. You got, a lot of kids, you have their Sunday school teacher or their neighbor or, one of their teachers, but coaches is always on that list. And a lot of people don't realize that, but so it's always a good thing to hear about how coaches are, believers, and that, you don't see it a lot anymore. One thing you do see, and this audit will probably make you proud, and I don't know if you know this or not, but Owl Park's one of the only towns that I remember that will pray before the game on the loudspeaker. Mm-hmm. I think they say they do the flag and then they pray. There's a couple towns still around here that are like that. I know Owl Park still does that, which is huge. Yeah. And so, I don't know. I just wanted to say that the 5, I got to look that up because I'll have to ask my mother-in-law. She probably knows, but that's always something that I've kind of held on to, and being a coach and just being a coach in general, other than being able to mold them through ministry and to guide them, but just the fact to be called a coach. And that's actually one of my questions I end with. So I won't get there yet, but yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll press on. But
when I listen to you talk, the greatest evangelist of all time, in my opinion, Billy Graham. He has that best quote about coaches that will touch more lives in a year than most people will in their whole lives, and I think that's just man, that's when that guy says it, it means something for sure.
Yeah, it's for sure. So, Coach, we've been enjoying you. This has been a great interview. First time getting to meet you. I'm a fan. That's just me being honest. I was a fan before you got here because, like I've said, I don't take it.
He bleeds blue though. He don't bleed green.
Yeah, that's obvious.
True, yeah.
But I can still be a fan.
No, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm a City View guy don't mean I can't be a fan. So I'm a fan. But this brings me to the best part of the show. By far, this is the best part of the show. And see, this is the part I know you're a man of faith, and we've been praying for him. I've been taking him to the altar, but he still hates me about the Big O Special, because we have a part of the show called the Big O Special. But guess what? He can't hate today because the best part about this is our Park's Green and White Club is my sponsor. They became my sponsor.
Let's go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
They
My boy
I got to
Justin,
give him some props there.
I had been asking for a sponsor, and I was like, man, Justin was like, I got you. We're going to sponsor the Big O Special for football season. So I appreciate the Our Park Green and White Club. Y'all hold a special place in my heart. Thank you again. Let's get into the Big O Special. So the Big O Special is kind of, last year I used to just ask like 1 or 2 questions.
Yeah, we need to get back to
But
that.
now I've turned it into a buffet. It's a buffet now.
Okay.
So it's a bunch of questions that pertains to food. Because we know that in the coaching world, coaches, they like to eat, have a good time, those type of things. So you just came from Wayland Baptist. What's one of the things that you enjoyed eating in that community? Even if it's like a mom and pop spot that you and your wife enjoy going to eat at?
We went to a place called Goodfellas, and they have hot honey chicken wings. So good. Wednesday night, every night.
Goodfellas.
Every week.
Yeah,
Goodfellas.
so might have to try that out. Wayland
You're
Baptist.
gonna go to Wayland Baptist
Just for
I
the
don't
good.
even know where that is.
We gonna figure it out for them hot honey
Just
wings.
go to Lubbock,
Hey, there was a
you'll
new
find it.
wing place
in
town.
So that's
Sorry,
pretty
go
good
ahead.
hot honey wings at Wayland Baptist. Since being in Iowa Park, what's something that you enjoy eating at since being in Iowa Park?
Carlito's Mexican food's pretty good. Yeah.
That's his favorite place.
Yeah, I like it.
Wow, the Burke Burnett
Chips
one.
and
Yeah.
salsa are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it's so good. The sauce is good.
Okay, what is there any other place in Iowa Park you've been eating at? Have you had Harvey's yet?
No, I have not had Harvey's yet.
Okay, so make sure you go to Harvey's. It used to be a thing on Fridays. Just so you know, this was our thing. They sell catfish on Fridays, but I think they do it all the time now. Catfish is amazing. Amazing. And their burgers. Harvey's is good. And
All right,
and
no.
then Highway Cafe. Have you tried that yet?
I haven't eaten at Highway Cafe.
The chicken fried steak.
Rafter J's is another good
I
one.
tried. We ate there one Sunday
that's
afternoon. Yeah, it's
barbecue,
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
They got a little Creole, a little Cajun food in there too.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
So it's good food. So, pretty much, I'm gonna put you in the hot seat big time because your wife is actually here.
Okay.
So we normally this year I've been playing homage to the wives because of course we know that the wives they make coaching that they make it possible because if they share you with numerous of kids, numerous of families, and I mean you even said it how your wife she got out of coaching so that she could make sure that she was able to be a support for you and also be there for the kids as well. So kudos to your wife for that. So the first part of it is, what's your favorite dish that your wife made?
Homemade enchiladas.
What kind?
Well, it's ground beef, but it's covered in queso sauce.
Oh,
and
so
it's a
she
recipe
flips
from
it.
my mom that my mom had, and Brandy started making it, and
Okay, so
she kills it.
okay, so man, enchiladas, queso. Week 4, y'all come to City View.
You need a platter of them?
Man,
do
I
you?
think I need a couple of them
You better
enchiladas.
talk
Drop
to
'em
her
off up
before
here
she leaves,
anytime.
yeah.
So that's I be trying to set my meals up for the season. That's how we kind of try to do it. But shout out to the enchiladas. Is she a baker? Is your wife a baker?
Not really.
Not a baker. So let's say let's go holidays real quick. Let's go to the holidays. If we're having a holiday dinner with the Woods, how would the holiday Thanksgiving meal look at the Woods house?
Well, we're gonna either smoke or deep fry a turkey, and then she's gonna make mashed potatoes to go with it. We're not really stuffing people, but the topping is the cherry cheesecake at the end. That's what you're looking for.
That's what I was
Right
trying
there.
to get to.
Cherry cheesecake.
That's what I was trying to get to, the dessert. Because with the enchiladas, now I'm just you see, I was trying to
He's
set
making
her.
his own menu
No.
right now.
So who smokes the turkey or deep fried?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. So don't be like me. I tried to deep fry a turkey before, and I didn't realize you're supposed to do all these things. That bad boy came out Cajun style. It was black as my shirt. I was like, never again.
I was hoping you said it was frozen when you dropped it down in.
Okay, so the last part, and last part of my question is, if you were cooking, what would be the dish that your wife would want you to cook?
She likes that ribeye steak pretty good.
How do you cook your ribeye? Let's get a little insight.
For a couple of minutes.
Yes,
yeah.
Man,
no, it's not rare. It's medium rare, but we like it.
Only
We
way
like
to
it
eat a
to
steak.
be juicy and.
Okay.
Mm.
So do
One
you
makes
Making me hungry. What, y'all buying supper after this or what?
do you do a particular seasoning or just kind of salt and pepper
I'm
guy?
a salt and pepper guy.
Okay, that
So
sounds
that's
good.
all a good steak needs right there.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was about to say. There's so many people that say you need to do this, do that. Salt and pepper, and maybe base it a little bit with butter. I like to base mine with butter. So, Coach, I've enjoyed you. This is the last part that I always have. Thanks again to the Iowa Park Green and White Club. But, Coach, I've enjoyed you. Appreciate you being a stand-up guy, but first and foremost being a guy that declares his beliefs openly. A lot of times we have private Christians, and that's not what we need in America, especially not with dealing with our children. So, thank you for that, Coach.
I appreciate that.
Yep. And before we let you go, I got just a couple more. I don't have a cool special or no sponsorship or anything, but
because he ain't me.
no. So I just kind of ended with a couple little questions. Back to the football side of things.
Okay.
Do you have do you have a game on your schedule this year that you have circled, and if so, what for or why?
Pampa week 1, because it's week 1.
And then the next
we're
one.
gonna go one at a time. I mean, it's just how it is, you know. When I think sometimes you could look ahead for games. I don't know how we can look ahead. We don't know what we've got, so it'll be about us.
Yeah. All right, good answer. A lot of coaches say the next one, or
Yeah.
it's like Tom Brady. He always said, or the best answer I ever heard was when they asked Tom Brady which one of his Super Bowl rings is the best one, and he said the next one.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that is. But anyway, last question of the day before we let you go, and hopefully you take your wife to something good, maybe
y'all got me hungry now.
or something. But just the story, maybe the back history, or what made Coach Wood become a coach and to be where you are today.
Yeah, it's a 2-part answer. First of all, my dad was in the education business for 45 years, and I watched him coach and teach, and I rode all the yellow dogs as a little bitty kid, and I fell in love with it. And I always knew what I wanted to do, and I didn't know if I wanted to be a head coach or if I wanted to go the football route or basketball route, but I knew from watching him and getting to do what he did that that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do it because of the reason I want to do it now. I thought that it was cool that he was getting to coach games and win games. I didn't realize at a young age what a coach was doing for a kid like I do now. And then as I got into coaching early, I hooked on to a mentor of mine, and I just watched him do it right. And I watched him love kids and coach them right, and he was a fantastic football coach. I mean, maybe the most brilliant offensive mind that I've coached with, but he was a better guy, and I want to be that guy. And a few years ago, I got to go give his eulogy and talk about my mentor, and I thought that's when I thought, what are they going to say when I'm done? What they're not going to say Coach Wood won however many games. They're going to say this. They're going to say all the other stuff about Coach Wood. So when I got to talk about Coach Mayo, I never one time thought about how many games he won. I still don't know. But I know who he was, and I know the impact he made on kids. And when I run into kids that he coached, they always talk about him, how much they loved him. And I want that to happen for me, when I'm gone. I want people to talk about me in a good sense and not in a negative way. So that's why we do what we do. We just want to make a difference in kids and hopefully win some games along the way.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I asked that question. And I actually started asking it about halfway through our interviews this year, and it's just good. It's always kind of cool to see where everybody started. A lot of times, it's dad or I mean, when you look back, I think most times it's because of a coach. Yeah. It's because of whether that was dad or whether that was your first high school coach and so it's just crazy, like a full circle how it comes all the way back to a coach. Yeah. And so we thank you for what you do. Obviously, you and your wife have done an awesome job. You wouldn't be still doing it now 34 years later. So we thank you for coming up here and hanging out with us a little bit, talk about your football program and just talk about you and getting to know you. And hopefully a lot of people out there in Owl Park and even around the area get to watch this and see what you're all about. And we really wish you the best of luck this year. We're rooting for you. And do you got anything else for us?
I just appreciate you guys having me. And if you ever want to talk football or Jesus, you got my cell phone number. Just give me a call.
All right. Thank you. And, we wish you the best of luck this year, Coach. And if you ever need anything from us, you just let us know.
Appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you.